Welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Hey everybody, happy weekend if you're listening here on a Saturday as this show debuts. If you want to follow along with the community questions today, we would love you to head on over to stephencabral.com/2367. That'll take you directly to the 6 questions I'll be answering today from the community. And then of course, you'll be on the website and you'll be able to go back to previous podcasts and even search your own topics because there are now 2,367 podcasts on everything under the sun that you could possibly imagine to do with wellness, to do with body transformation, or to do with anti-aging, biohacking, you name it. It's probably there. So you can search it at stephencabral.com/podcast. And if it's not there, then of course I turn it into its own podcast or answer it right here on the weekend show. So without further ado, let's dive into these weekend's questions. I was just opening up the document. And again, my team does such an amazing job at being able to pull together like 6,000 questions we've had over the years. And we are on episode 2367. All right, first question, getting right into it today. It's from Bettina. Bettina's asking, "Hi, Dr. Cabral. Thank you for providing such great information in an easy to understand way. What are your thoughts on a woman getting pregnant at 42 years old? Is there anything a woman at this age should be sure to do? Eat or take if pregnant or trying to get pregnant at this age? Is it too big a toll on the body at this age? Thank you for any advice and information you can provide." It's a great question. So, as I always say, when it comes to everything about your body, whether you should take pharmaceutical drugs, whether you should eat organic, whether you should take nutritional supplements, whether you should invest in any biohacking-based devices or even something like a sauna, I'm just here to provide an unbiased perspective. That's it. So I'm going to share with you an unbiased perspective, but I'm not going to tell you whether you or anyone else should get pregnant at 42 years old. Because I'll tell you this, I know women that are 42 years old and are in great overall health and shape. Now, again, I don't want you to take this as that you need to be in great shape to get pregnant. I'm not saying about that, right? And I'm not even saying that there's a particular shape that you need to be in, but you need to be healthy. Too overweight or too thin does not allow for the healthiest body. That's all that I'm saying. I'm not saying one's better than the other. What I'm saying from a strictly health-based perspective, the more overweight a body is, and I'm not talking about 10 pounds overweight, I'm talking like 30, 50 pounds plus over your ideal body weight. And again, it's your ideal. It doesn't mean too thin. I feel like we have to explain that more and more, but we're just talking about health. That's it. Because as your body weight increases, this is scientifically proven. Cholesterol, diabetes, cancer, high blood pressure all go up. Those are big 4 causes of mortality. If the body is 30 plus pounds overweight, it's unlikely someone lives well into their 80s. And my goal is to help extend lifespan the healthy way and also the easier way. I'm not saying it's easy to lose weight, but you can do it. There's no doubt about it. And again, I want to be there to help. So like, that's the thing. It's like, I have so many shows on body transformation that I want to help. All right. Now, but also if you're too underweight, you have a different set of issues. And I was already saying it's like osteoporosis right away, potentially more prone to mineral deficiencies, vitamin deficiencies, more fatigue, right? Like there's catabolism and then there's anabolism, and there's just 2 big sides to that. Well, what about, can we find, a happy balance between those? All right. So we're looking at the health of the mother, because the health of the mother, believe it or not, does dictate to a degree the health of the child. And I've done this on many Friday reviews. I've talked about it even from screen time to stress to cortisol. It affects the unborn child. All right, so there's that part. Now, can a woman get pregnant at 42 and carry full term and everything be good? The answer is yes. So if you're a healthy individual and you want to have a child at 42 years old, I don't think that there's anybody that should tell you otherwise. Then you're good to go. Now, I can say from a personal perspective, which is not a health perspective, how are you going to be with maybe 6 months of sleepless nights, or maybe you have help during the night. Again, I'm not here to say, right? Or like what's your energy levels like taking care of a new child? So you can think about yourself as well. Again, there's no right answers. I'm just trying to share with you information that I would at least think through. Now, the other thing is this though, at 42 years old, you absolutely do need to dial in to a greater degree balancing inflammation and taking in proper nutrients. So there's like no doubt in my mind, like maybe you can get away with it in your 20s of like not taking in as many good nutrients, but for sure you need to a greater degree at 42. Why? Typically digestion isn't as strong, absorption isn't as strong. The body's in a more of a catabolic state. You've had like 20 years now of working and all that and probably depleting your body of even more nutrients. So I would just make sure, that you're doing something like the daily foundational protocol, level 2 plus extra, 400, 500 extra micrograms of methylfolate. And then if you need iron, take a natural iron-based product, like the one that is on the EcoLife site. It's not even the EcoLife brand, but we just provide good brands on that website. All right. So hopefully that was helpful. All right. Bettina's up again. We've got the second Bettina. All right. Bettina says, Dear Dr. Cabral, thank you once again for all the information you provide. Just listening to the Mind Pump podcast you mentioned. You mentioned cyst on the pituitary gland. Could you speak more about this? The consequences of what can be done to remove it or make its consequences less. Thank you for your help and suggestions. Okay. So yeah, the Mind Pump guys are amazing. I've done their show 3 times now, I believe. I don't think it's 4. I think it's 3. Really enjoy talking with them because they're open to talking about everything and they're super knowledgeable. And you're being quizzed by essentially 3 people at the same time. So you got to be on your toes, right? And they're just great to chat with. So we talk about all sorts of different information. So the reason why I probably brought this up, because I'm not exactly remembering, I've done now 2 for like 6 hours worth of audio with them, but I've talked about this many times. A tumor or a cyst, because it could be benign, on the pituitary gland. Think about the pituitary gland. I just did a show. All right, so Bettina, if you, I think you maybe listen to the show daily, which is amazing. We appreciate you and your support. I did a show on, I think it was just Wednesday, right? Yeah, Wednesday show, 2364. And it was on the hypothalamus, pituitary gland, and the adrenals. I'm going to pull back my buddy Walter. I try to keep him by my side. I'll be using him a lot more for videos because the IHPs and people seem to enjoy the feedback from it. So you can see right up here in the brain, if you're watching this on video, that's the pituitary gland. Well, the hypothalamus sits above it. The hypothalamus is telling the pituitary gland how to control the different organs of the body. So it's going to control this gland right here, your thyroid, your adrenals, which are on top of the kidneys. It's going to control the ovaries. It's going to control the testes to a degree, basically the gonads of the body, and a lot more. I mean, it's crucial, right? It has a hand in everything: sleep, energy, hormones, you name it. So if it is secreting too much of a hormone, say like adrenocorticotropic hormone, well, it could cause something like Cushing's disease. So the thing is, this is why we test, right? We run a lab like the stress, mood, and metabolism. So we run a lab like the stress, mood, and metabolism test. You can find that at stephencabral.com/labs. And you look at your cortisol levels, you look at all your hormone levels, you look at your thyroid, and if anything is off, now the first thought is definitely not a cyst on the tumor, a cyst on the pituitary gland or a tumor on the pituitary gland. That's definitely not the first thought. But if the levels are radically high, then absolutely, or radically low, there could be a cyst. And so first, you'll want to confirm that with your PCP, that it's Cushing's disease or it's, something like that. And then you would potentially have surgery to remove it, although has its own challenges. But a lot of other people have just done, and again, so here's the disclaimer: I can't provide any medical advice, medical treatment plans, medical cures, or medical in any way, shape, or form. I'm just here giving you a second opinion from a non-medical standpoint, and that's it. Okay, so, for me, if I found that out, my first option wouldn't be surgery. For me, I would look into doing specific detoxes, again, like that we do anyways, functional medicine detoxes. I'd be looking into like a deeper water-based fast. I don't want to get too deep into that right now because I wouldn't go there right away either. But I would also be using proteolytic enzymes at the same time. And I would try a specific protocol for about 4 months. And then after 4 months, especially if my symptoms were feeling better, I would retest. If the numbers were improving, that would give me a lot of hope. And then if we had a probably MRI it again, or a CAT scan or something, then I would say, hey, is it shrinking? If it is, okay, then I'm continuing on that path. If it's not working, then I might want to look to different methodologies within conventional medicine. All right, so hopefully that was helpful. Darren's up next. Good day, Dr. Brawl. Hope all is well with the family. Thank you. Appreciate that. I know you say to avoid liquids with meals unless it's like hot ginger tea or something. Given the protein and caloric content some consider as meals, just asking, is it okay to have a smoothie at the same time with a solid breakfast or lunch? Or should we separate the time we have that, even if it's post-workout, et cetera? Thanks for all you do. It's a great question. Really great question. Okay, so let me give you a couple examples. I do a smoothie every morning, but I also do something solid most days of the week. Not every day, but most days of the week. I do oatmeal, like oatmeal groats, like the thicker oatmeal, like the steel cut ones. They're almost like little beads, right? They're not just the flat ones. I really like those. Those sit in my belly for a while, and I like that. I'll show it to you right now. I grabbed one of my daughter's hydro flasks. This one isn't actually mine. I usually use, I eat them sometimes at home, but I usually use like a big Yeti or something like that. And so it's funny. And then I have my little compostable plant-based spoon here. And I have that, and it slows the digestion of my smoothie. It keeps me fuller longer. But when you think of oatmeal is completely compatible with something like a smoothie. It's also is more watery based. Like it is easier to digest. The issue would be having a smoothie with like a burger, having a smoothie with a steak or with chicken, because it has fruit typically in it. So that's not going to mix as well. So I wouldn't typically recommend that. But let me give you another thing that I do. So again, if you saw if you've read or listened to my podcast on food layering and food combining, I'll do a smoothie because I'm not trying to lose weight. That's not a goal of mine. So I'll do a smoothie peri-workout, basically before my workout and during my workout. And it will have like a cup of fruit in it, maybe just a little bit more, because like a half a banana I might put in there with 1 cup of berries. And I'm doing that during my workout because it's also a lot of hydration. It's 32 ounces of liquid. So I'm always trying to hydrate my body. Not overhydrate it, but again, it's difficult to overhydrate it if you're taking it in with all the minerals. So I do that, and then I have my dinner about an hour later. Now that's already been digested because it's my body's soaking it up during the workout because it needs the fuel, but also it's easy to digest. And I drink it right away. I don't like layer that over a long period of time. So hopefully that was helpful. And again, you can drink fluid during a meal. Remember in Ayurveda, they divide the stomach into 4 parts. They say they use 2 of those parts for food. They use 1 part for liquid and 1 part for air. So like you could have a glass of 8 ounces or 10 ounces of some type of liquid with a meal. You're just kind of sipping it throughout the meal to get the food down, and that's about it. All right? It's just ginger tea is a very good digestive aid. But you could put in some apple cider vinegar, a little raw apple cider vinegar, or you could do digestive bitters, or just some sparkling water if you wanted to, or regular water if you wanted to, just not cold. All right, let's see. Who's up next? Lynette. Lynette says, hi, Dr. Brawl. I'm recovering from breast cancer, and I'm at a stage where I need to heal my gut. Do you have any gut healing tips without the use of zinc and glutamine? These 2 supplements, along with excess copper, iron, protein, and B1 and B2, are not recommended to cancer survivors. I love your podcast. Thanks for all you do. Regards, Lynette from Australia. All right. Yeah. Happy to help. And the reason why they don't include like a lot of protein, excuse me, and zinc and glutamine is those are anabolic nutrients, right? So what do? They fuel growth. They fuel growth of your body. So I totally get it. I totally understand where conventional medicine is coming from, but it's so reductionist, right? It's like it has nothing to do with the immune system. It's just looking at anabolism and catabolism, but I get it. And I would probably err on the side of caution for at least the first 6 months. Again, I'm not telling you what to do from a medical standpoint. I'm just giving you my tips. Okay, so what do you do if you're trying to stay away from zinc, glutamine, and a lot of protein? Well, one thing you could do that's good for the gut is something like aloe vera, DGL, deglycerinated licorice root. You could use things like mastic gum. Again, I can't give you what to do for cancer, but I can tell you about gut-based issues. And the reason why I'm not going to say something like bone broth is because that contains a lot of like glutamine. I mean, that's one of the reasons why it can be quite beneficial in sulfur and glutamine. So you could look into that, but that's probably not where you want to go as well with healing the gut. So marshmallow roots, look into a product. Not saying to do this, but I'm just saying look into it called Healthy Belly. All right, check out Healthy Belly, and then I just gave you a bunch of ingredients to look at as well. All right, so that would be that, and then of course a good probiotic. All right, so a good probiotic like the Clean Gut Probiotic to start, and then probably the daily probiotic after. All right, Anonymous is up next. Hello, I'm a relatively new listener. Love listening to your podcast and learning ways to heal myself and my loved ones. Thank you. My mom had lung cancer 6 years ago and has radiation damage to her lungs and COPD. She has had CAT scans every 6 months for the last 6 years, and most recent one showed an increase in fluid. Her oncologist put her in an order to have the fluid drained and said there's nothing she can do on her own to help the fluid on its own. She's been drinking mullein tea daily for the last 3 years or so. Is there anything else she could do to take the lung from retaining fluid and the damage of the radiation? Anything else besides mullein? I understand no medical diagnosis or cures, just would like to know what you would do for family and patients. Should someone that showed high markers of candida stay clear of red yeast rice for cholesterol? Is that the case for other forms of yeast as well? Okay, got it. All right, so let's take them one by one. We've got fluid in the lungs. I like looking at specific products that help with the lungs. Mullein is definitely one of those. I think it's a great one. I like to do things that are drying. So again, this is where like Ayurveda shines. All right, this person's holding mucus, holding fluid. Again, I can't provide any medical advice, but I would be doing sauna basically every day. Dry sauna, not steam. Dry sauna basically every day. That's what I would be doing for sure. I would probably be using something like 1 or 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar in water each morning upon waking. I'd be doing that unless it gives the person heartburn. What else would I be doing? I'd be using proteolytic enzymes upon waking every morning. I'd probably do 4. We are going to be carrying proteolytic enzymes, my formula, at equa.life soon. You can just go to stevencabral.com/shop. It'll send you over there. What else? Florafilm, if it's not there yet, you can do 4 of those on an empty stomach. And then there's also drying herbs as well. I know there's a product it's literally called Lung Formula. I don't have the brand off the top of my head, but I'm sure you could email in and find out that as well, which is a really nice one to take too. Yeah, licorice root as well. So this product contains licorice root. You know what's a good product? Sinus support. I would do sinus support. Mullein, proteolytic enzymes, and sauna. That's what I would do. Again, not to cure anything, but just good for the lungs. All right. Tammy's our last question of the day. It says, hi, Dr. Cabral. Thank you so much for the research and knowledge you bring to the world. By the way, the sinus support is just at stevencabral.com/shop, just so you know where that is, because we only carry them really in one place. All right. Tammy says, thank you so much for the research and knowledge you bring to the world. Thank you, Tammy. I'm a 50-year-old healthy female. My only issue is that I have an odor that my husband says comes from my nose. I don't think I can smell or taste like normal. I do sinus cleanses every day. I've tried your sinus support, but nothing seems to help. What could be causing this? And is there a natural way to help with this? Thank you so much, Tammy. Okay. I'm going to answer that, Tammy. One thing I forgot, red yeast rice has nothing to do with yeast in the body. So if you want to use red yeast rice, it will not affect candida levels in the body. All right. That was for Anonymous. Last question. Okay. Odor in the nose. How I'm going to look at this is like this. I'm going to look at odor in the nose as almost some of the same reasons for halitosis for the breath. All right. So there is something putrefying in the stomach or in the nasal passages. Less likely the nasal passages, right? But it could be coming up and circulating through. That's always possible. It's going to come down to the same exact thing anyways, but let me just give you a different possibility. The other is that bacteria in the nasal passages is actually imbalanced. It's another reason why you can have halitosis, not just what's fermenting in the gut, but actually what's going on in the nasal passages. All right, so in all seriousness, we're looking at an imbalance in bacteria. So in the mouth, it can become more anaerobic, the bacteria, and same in the nasal passages. It is absolutely possible. And then there could be the putrefaction of the gut. So 2 things I would do. You're doing your sinus rinses, which is great. So what I would do is this. I would do the sinus rinse. I would do the neti pot. I would put in 2-3 drops of the citrus drops or the citricidal drops. And of course, your sea salt. Wash that out. And then like right afterwards, 5 minutes afterwards, say to your husband, hey, is there any odor in my nose? Because it should wipe out whatever's in there. And if there isn't, okay, then there could absolutely be something like growing in there or there's an imbalance of bacteria. So there's that part. But If there is, I would still look to the gut. So I would run the bacterial and parasite stool test, and I would run the Candida metabolic and vitamins test. That's absolutely what I would do. And for most people, I'm telling them just run the gut bundle at stephencabral.com/labs. You can run it with an IHP level 2. You can run it with your local naturopathic doctor, but the gut bundle, or you can run it with us. It's totally up to you. But the gut bundle actually kind of gives you a free lab. It's all 3 labs for a great discount. That includes the food sensitivity. So the reason why I mention this is that if you probably need to rebalance the overall flora of the body. And a lot of people don't think of it as the as part of the nasal patches, but it absolutely is. Ear, nose, and throat is all part of it. And it's called the mucus-associated lymph tissue. And so that's all part of it. And so I would absolutely run those labs, see what's going on, rebalance the gut. It'll repopulate the gut with the proper bacteria, and hopefully that helps the nasal passages as well. All right. Hopefully that was helpful. Thanks everyone for tuning in today. I appreciate you, and I'll be back tomorrow answering more of our community's questions. Take care. I want to sincerely thank you for your support of this podcast. I couldn't do it without you, and I mean that. I truly do. I also want to make sure you knew that we now have multiple ways for you to find your answers to the most difficult health, wellness, weight loss, and anti-aging questions. You can find podcast-specific topics like thyroid, adrenal, hormones, sleep, digestion, Ayurveda, and many more at stephencabral.com/podcasts that will then link you to your favorite Apple, Spotify, and other podcast players. Plus, all new podcasts and weekly exclusive video content is being added to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Stephen Cabral. And that's Stephen with a PH. Head on over and subscribe so that you don't miss any of the exclusive content. Lastly, if you've ever found any of my podcasts or books to be helpful, I would really appreciate it if you could leave a review on iTunes or your favorite media player for the podcast. Rating and subscribing to the YouTube and podcast allow me to reach more and more people and help spread my mission of healing throughout the world. Thank you again for being a part of this movement.